Okay guys, hope you enjoyed that video. It was shot entirely with the Insta360 One X camera and edited in Premiere Pro using the GoPro VR plugins. I'm gonna give you some tips now on kind of how I shot this video, how I planned it, what I did in Premiere Pro to get some of the effects that I achieved in that video. I'm about to tell you that, but before that I just want to talk about Milan as a city. It's so awesome, really loved it. The Duomo Cathedral is probably the most amazing building I've ever seen. It is literally stunning. I cannot get over how amazing it is on the inside and outside. As you can see, you can go on the roof of the cathedral. It's an amazing views of the city. Milan itself is just such a beautiful place and very buzzing, very lively. I visited 5 cities on the trip that I just did, and Milan was definitely my favorite. So if you are ever in Europe and you're ever in the area, check it out. It's amazing. So now on to the video itself. How did I shoot it? How did I edit it? I'm just going to give you a few tips. I'm not going to overload you with information. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, what I did, and then in another video I'll go into more depth of how to kind of create a proper travel vlog just using the Insta360 One X, or really many other 360 cameras you can achieve similar effects. So let's start off with the thing that I think is the most important, and that is the transitions between each shot. Because, you know, with a normal video you can just jump from one video to the other, which I do sometimes in the video that I showed you, the Milan video, but with a 360 camera you have some more options. You can kind of do the spinning effect, you can go zoom out and then zoom in, and you can make it look really good, really professional, and I think it adds a kind of more dynamic edge to the video. So I'm going to show you how I do that in Premiere Pro, and yeah, we're going to try and help you get some better transition effects. So let's take a look. Right, so here we have 2 clips, both of them shot with the Insta360 One X and both reframed using the GoPro VR plugin in Premiere Pro, and this is the effect that we get. Let's just have a quick look. And we look down and then zoom in and then drop down. So yes, as you can see, that's kind of a more interesting transition than if I'd just gone from one clip to the other without anything there. I think it looks much better, and it does add a bit more of an interesting effect to the overall video. So let's have a look at how I did that. So if we go on effects. Right, so here we go. These are the keyframes for the GoPro VR plugin, which allows you to move the camera around. So if we play, you can see how it goes from one to the other, and then down. So let's have a look at how I did that. So let's zoom in right to the end of the transition. Now what I did is obviously set it up so that I wanted the camera to look down. So that was the point that I started at. So you want to get to your final point in the video. So this is it, but you don't want to start going into the transition straight away. What you do is you select everything that you've done, the last point you made, you copy it. So you can copy all the keyframes at once, copy them and paste them about a few seconds later when you want the transition to start. So that means that it's not going to go straight into a transition. It will pause for a second and then do it, and I think that looks much better. So go right to the end of the video, paste it back in. That's what I've done here. These keyframes are exactly the same as these keyframes. Then what you want to do is go right to the very end of the video and select really extreme keyframes. So in this instance, what I did was zoom all the way in, like very far, but in a very close formation with the last keyframe. So literally it's less than half a second. Now also what I did to make it more of a transitional effect is add a blur. So as we can see here, there's a directional blur, and you add that keyframe to exactly the same, start with 0, end with 100 or whatever, an extreme amount, just so it gets very blurry at exactly the same time as when the end of the video is. So that adds the blur, so it's more of a transitional effect. So as you can see here, just zooms in very quickly. This is like less than a second. Now let's say instead of zooming all the way out, we wanted to zoom up, or like go into a tiny planet. So let's just change the field of view to go all the way out and maybe around. So you can just play around with it, make sure it's got a smooth transition on, because I think that works much better than without. And again, add the blur. So let's see what that looks like. I mean, it's the same, it's a similar effect, but I think looking down in this instant works best. So that's basically how you add a decent transition using the GoPro Premiere plugins. But I think what makes it even better is you need to connect one clip to the next. So have a think about the transition of what direction it's going in and how that's going to feed into the next clip. So for example, in this one, I was zooming from a far up, zooming down, and then in the next clip, I started from up and then came down. So almost you know, joins in together. So don't go from zooming up then to zooming to the side, because I don't think it works as well. It doesn't kind of in your brain register as quite as much of a smooth transition. So you can see what I mean if we look, there we go. It's a very simple thing, very simple effect, but I think it works really well. Now, another effect that I think works really well and could be added really to any kind of travel vlog, travel video, is this kind of zooming fast motion effect that focuses on one point. You spin around it almost like you're spinning around the object really quickly. Now, I'm going to show you how I do that and how I edit that. Basically, when you shoot the video, so you've got the One X, you've got the stick, the selfie stick attached to a selfie stick. All you need to do is walk around whatever object you want to focus on, but always make sure that one of the lenses, just choose one lens basically, make sure that lens is always focused on that point. So if the object is here, make sure you zoom around like that. Just slowly move your camera as you walk around the building, the object, whatever you want to focus on. Very slowly, try and make sure you're walking in a straight line, and that will achieve the effect. But most of the effect is done in editing, and I'll show you how I keyframe that. Basically, all you need to do is, if we look at this one of the submarine in a museum in Milan, all you do, so I walked around this submarine, make sure one of the lenses was pointing at the submarine at all times. Now all you need to do is make sure that the keyframes, or that the submarine or the object, whatever you're focusing on, is always in the center of the screen. So as obviously you're walking around, it's going to move, the camera's going to move, it's not always going to be in the center. Now you can see without the keyframes, the submarine, the object does not remain in the center of the screen at all times, so this effect doesn't really work very well. So basically all you need to do is reframe it so that the submarine is always in the center of the clip. So as you can see here, started off, make sure the starting point, the object, the sub, is in the center of the frame, and as I move around, I made sure that the next frame, wherever it started to move, as you can see, you can move it around like this, but make sure it's always in the center. The next clip, still in the center. And you essentially just need to move the yaw. This option here, the yaw, can move from side to side and allows you to choose where the object is in the frame, and just make sure it's always in the center. Now do this every 10 seconds or so in the clip, and then you can see that the sub or the object will always be in the center. And then all you need to do is speed it up, because obviously this took me about 2 or 3 minutes to walk around the object, the submarine. I did another one walking around the cathedral, which took like 10 minutes because it's a big old building. But all you need to do is change the speed duration. I moved it up to 1100%, which changed it from, so it used to be 1 minute and 18 seconds, moved it to 1100%, and now it's only 7 seconds. So that speeds it up, that creates that hyperlapse effect, and that mixed with the fact that the subject is always in the center of the frame allows you to focus on that subject, and I think it's a really cool effect, and it works really well for travel vlogs. So guys, I guess that's it. That's the 2 tips I'm going to give you for this video. I've got another video coming up where I shot in Nice in France, and I'll give you 2 more tips of how to shoot travel vlogs with the One X, or any kind of vlogs, really, any kind of videos. I think the One X works really well as kind of a B-roll camera. Now I know I shot that entire Milan video just using the One X, and I think it turned out alright, but I think it works better when mixed with a DSLR or with a more powerful camera that's a normal framed camera, and then using these kind of cool effects, the transition effects, the hyperlapse, the fact you can zoom, focusing on one object and spin around it really fast. But until next time, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about how I achieve these effects, let me know. Like I said, another video coming up with some more tips. But until then, I will see you around. Bye.